Right, it's only optional. Yes.
Which is to serve the people of National City. You do that as a mayor and council, and I have the opportunity to do that in the state capital of Sacramento, and I'm really proud of that. I worked with the city before in previous roles as councilman in the city of San Diego, and so it's really an honor to be back in front of you now, representing National City with great pride. We just heard from so much public testimony earlier. That is the same pride that I carry with me in Sacramento and that I know you do on this day. Thank you for your service. I am here today to speak in support of your item 7.4, which I appreciate you having on your consent agenda. This item is in support of AB 436. Since the 1950s, car clubs and family members have converted old cars for cruising, shows, and competitions and events. These uniquely modified vehicles are also seen in movies and at many of our community events. However, for years, many of those who cruise or who have these vehicles have had them and have done this activity of cruising in some fear. And it is now time that they cruise without the fear of being stopped or judged. That is why I introduced AB 436, Cruising is Not a Crime. This was inspired specifically from National City. AB 436 will unban the local cruising bans throughout the state of California and highlight the role of cruising by creating community, expression of love for art, and bringing unity. Cruising is a historic and important part of our culture for many other communities. This bill will allow for the historic legacies of cruising to continue for many generations to come. I want to thank the United Lowrider Coalition for asking me to carry this bill. When I first took office, it was the very first things they talked about. I want to thank Councilmember Marcus Bush, who came to Sacramento and helped me get unanimous approval out of the Assembly Local Government Committee, and now the bill is on its way. I want to thank all the members who have supported this. Your expressions of support really signify a lot. I want to thank the members of the public as well who have spoken up, who came up to Sacramento, who demonstrated why this is important. And just like we talked earlier and you all talked about how housing is a right for everybody, we want to make sure that cruising and driving these vehicles is also a right for everybody, not just in National City. It's a historic night because of what you're going to do later today. You're going to help propel this law for the state. Sacramento is going to move in the right direction to make sure that no other city continues to have this ban, just like I am confident that you will do the same later tonight. Again, I thank you very much for the letter of support, for helping us get this bill over the line. Hopefully, with the governor's signature, every city can enjoy cruising, because once again, cruising is not a crime. Thank you very much.
Assemblyman Alvarez for taking the lead on this bill, and I support it. I want to thank our mayor and our city manager for putting this item on the agenda for consideration. I do ask a few minor tweaks to the letter. That it talks about Latino, Hispanic, so I ask that you include change that language to say just in general Black and brown, and I think that's all encompassing. So there's some language there that if I can actually make a substitute motion to have that change, or I don't know if it's procedurally, if it would be could I ask for the maker to make an amendment to it? Okay, so I ask for that change. It also references events. If that word lingo could change to the word traditions, because it's not just formal organized events. A lot of these, it's just informal. It's just people doing what they do, like when it was Charger games back in the day, or even just recently Padres. But really want to thank all the activists in the room here, because at the end of the day, this means change comes from the bottom up, not the top down. And this is a movement that we all should be very proud of in our hometown, because as a statewide movement, this started right here in National City. And it all starts with a ripple. I want to give a shout out to Miss Marisa Rosales, the queen back there. To this movement by her unauthorized cruises. right thing, and now it works with the city council. Now it's grown, so I really want to thank you and just celebrate this and celebrate this moment. We're gonna have a discussion later about cruising, but again, cruising is not a crime, and I'm so happy to see this building to where it's at today. Thank you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you. I echo the comments of Councilmember Bush. Thank you, Assemblyman David Alvarez, for taking the issue on. Thank you so much for community for not stopping when you were told no. Right? Democracy is in action all the time, and you chose to continue this fight. And it feels very proud for me as a National City resident to know that state legislation is changing because of what you all did here in National City.
Yes,
so thank you all for inspiring us. I would like to make a suggestion for changing as well or modifying to include all of the elected officials' signatures in the letter that we are sending over.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Right?
I appreciate the spirit of it. Couple of things. You mentioned events. I don't even see the word event mentioned. So I'm missing.
What's on the-
Oh, it does. It says community event. We're bringing back a community event, which I don't know. I hate to see us start wordsmithing up here because if you want to include Blackfeet, there's also Samoans I've seen out there. There's all kinds of different ethnic groups. And where do we start? Where do we stop? And so I just hate to see us start wordsmithing up here. During that type of situation. I think the lead letter is a strong letter that basically is going to make everything that we, as a council, has said, that I'm saying. We're going to wordsmith all of our communication up here on the dais. It's going to start getting kind of chaotic.
I mean, Mayor, I appreciate that, and I'm willing to drop the event request. Maybe that's not as important. I still would ask that you consider adding a reference to Black or African American. I think it's the easier because it says in there Latino or Hispanic. I think it's better and easier than just say Black and Brown because that's pretty encompassing. But leaving it as is, it would just say Hispanic, Latino, so that excludes our African American community that is definitely part of the Lowrider community.
I will give it to that. Great.
Just as a clarification for the signature. On the letter.
Normally the letters come out of the mayor's office, and so I mean, especially when the district level, that's the way it should proceed.
I believe it's important for the state of California and assembly members of the state to realize that we are united in this as an entire council, and we are all on the same page with repealing the ordinance.
And what we've done in the past is the city puts out a letter, and then, as there's individual messages want to go out from the individual council members, then they do the letter on those letterheads. And amplifies on
Right on.
I will push for a substitute motion to include the letter with Black explicit in there, as well as everybody's signature on council.
I'll second that.
Okay. We do have a, push buttons on that substitute motion, or they will show up on that even? There it is. Okay, there it is. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. I just would like to give thanks to the person who had educated me about this, aside from Councilmember Bush and Councilmember Rodriguez, my good friend, Rafael, who had given me insight, and of course, Jovita, who, during the program, I push for culture, I push for, respecting the culture as I do as a Filipino mayor. So I would like to thank those people. Thank you so much.
Any other discussion? I'm just going to say, I'm going to vote against the substitute motion. I'm all for the letter. and my signature's on it, so I'm all for it. But I think start wordsmithing up here at the dais is the wrong place to do all that, so. So we do that there.
Motion approved on 4 to 1 vote.
Next we go on to item 7.3.
Ariano, the president of the United Lowrider Coalition, and I really want to thank each and every one of you tonight for your efforts in listening to us for the past 2 years, 3 months, and 2 days. We've been fighting to get here tonight. Tonight's a historic night. I believe and I know that this is going to happen. We're finally going to be able to repeal this no cruising ordinance. And I thank you for the conversations that we've had with you, Mayor, with Josie. I thank you, Marcus, from the bottom of my heart, from being with us from day one. Jose, I thank you for being there also for us, speaking for us, flying out on the plane with us, different areas. Vitas, we thank you because you have always been there and told me you're always going to support me. And Luce, I thank you for your, you just being a part of it. We had you in our car last May and the first cruise, the only cruise last year, but it's okay. Today is something special because, as David Alvarez said, cruising is not a crime. And now, after this is approved, we're going to celebrate. And I thank you because we're going to be able to cruise Highland Avenue knowing that we're not committing any kind of crimes. And so thank you for bringing this to the floor today. Thank you for working with us. And I appreciate all this. Thank you.
You have Sophia, to be followed by Evan.
Hi, my name's Sophia. First up, I want to say thank you to everybody. And I just want to bring up how this is not just about a cruising event. This is about bringing back a family tradition that has been here for generations and generations. I'm a third generation lowrider, first female lowrider in my family. And this is something that I want to bring, not just for myself, but for my kids and for just for the family. And once we get it repealed, of course, we're going to celebrate. Thank you.
Followed by Norma Acosta.
Good afternoon, Mayor Morrison and City Council. I'm also here to, first of all, thank David Alvarez for walking with us and taking us to Sacramento and opening the door of Sacramento and walking into where they vote. And we've never experienced nothing like that. That was very awesome. A big thank you to Marcus Bush. He's been there from day one, believing in us and giving us the love and support, and that's great. We feel very honored. Jose, también, also, for backing us up and being there, and for the United Lowrider, which is here behind me. And now, Ron Morrison, Mayor, I know you have the power to push that little green button and say, and also to all the media who have been texting us, calling us, and just being there. And we're very interested in what was going on with these lowriders, with the community. And why Highland? Why Highland? And believe it or not, people know more where National City is because of all this that's going on. So a big thank you to everybody who has supported us, and let's get this done tonight. Thank you. Thank you.
Norma Acosta, followed by Marie, I think it's Bovana?
Albania.
Bovana, okay.
Good evening, my name is Norma Acosta. I want to thank you for giving us all the opportunity to be here tonight and sharing the excitement that we've all been, waiting for. And I think I'm going to second what our brother Robert said. You have that power to push the green light and let the cruising begin. Let the old times come back, everything has changed and it's just a privilege, to see what's coming forth from here on out and just the opportunities that, that we get to express without being fearful of being stopped or being, picked on. So thank you once again to each and every one of you.
Thank you. Carlos Ruiz.
I timed mine, so it's 2 minutes.
Okay.
Shout out to all the brown and black folks in the community. Thank you to the National City Council members and Mayor Ron Morrison for this time and work towards repealing this ban on cruising. My name is Marie Obanya, and I am one of the board members of United Lowrider Coalition and board member of Vision Culture Foundation here on Highland Avenue, serving youth and the community through arts. I'm also a single mom and a 10-year-old daughter who couldn't be here today, Frankie Simone. You all have known her since last fall. My family and I have roots here in National City, as many Filipino immigrant families have. As many of our Black and Latino neighbors, we know firsthand the importance of community solidarity. In our Filipino culture, this is called kapwa, which means togetherness, being in community with one another. We also refer to this as having the bayanihan spirit, which is coming together in unity and helping others, which is why we're all here today. We grew up in this lowrider community. As a mental health clinician, specifically a licensed clinical social worker, therapist, I want to highlight and magnify the positive impact that the car culture and lowriding has had on our community's mental health and wellness. We know that art is healing. Cultural arts is healing. To rehabilitate a classic vehicle, to pour your heart and soul into this craft, to individually customize it is truly cathartic. This is therapy. I have had patients tell me firsthand how working on their car has been life-saving, how it is one of the positive coping skills listed on their mental health safety plan to prevent a suicidal crisis. I've had clients tell me how much they look forward to gathering with others and their other lowriders and their car clubs. To be able to share this car culture and lowriding with others, your own community, is truly community care and empowerment. The youth have also shared how positive cruising has been for them and their development. So, we welcome all of you to show in action that you are part of this community care. To repeal this ban means welcoming equity, diversion, and inclusion. It means kapwa, being in community with us and supporting our traditions. It means understanding and knowing who your community and recognizing who your community is and recognizing how to meet their needs. We welcome you all to be a part of this historic change. There's power in transformative justice, in righting the wrongs of the past, in learning and healing from it, and ensuring that this discriminatory ban against our cultural traditions is removed so that we can all increase the well-being of our community and our people. Thank you.
My name is Carlos Reese. I am the executive board member of United Lowrider Coalition treasurer. So basically, I get to carry the purses. The ladies in charge. First of all, I want to thank everyone here. We're tired. We're tired, and we're happy that where we're at right now. Ron, you had the privilege of riding in my car, so I think you understand what we're about. And I had so many things written down, and I was like, we can do this, and we can talk about this, and I think the fact that it's here, it's almost over, and then we'll move on, because believe it or not, the no's kept making us stronger. The no's kept pushing us to a level that we would never thought we would be. The no's created a monster. I mean, Marissa was definitely the spark that started this. But Marcus, man, you were the fuel. Man, you blazed that fire that you just started, guided us to, okay, there's the light. That's what we need to do. And then Jose stepped on and he was just like real calm, cool, and collective, and very like, we do this, you do that, And then we learned, even from like we were talking about earlier, our failures, we learned those make us stronger. And that's where our coalition is now. We're becoming a nonprofit. We're becoming a nonprofit. This is now an agenda item for us. So when this is ticked off our list, we're still going to be in the community. You're still going to see our lowriders. You're going to still see us doing the same exact thing that we were doing from when we started. We'll be, helping you guys and whatever you need, and being in the community and trying to present to the community as your guys' leadership is doing now. So, I'm gonna end this real quick. Just, we say cruising's not a crime. Cruising was never a crime. In 1992, I know. I was one of them kids on the street out there, and I was one of those kids on the street out there, and, I retired as a criminal investigator, and here I am. So thank you, and green button.
Council, I echo the sentiments of my colleagues. I serve as part of the executive board of the United Lowrider Coalition, and what a journey this has been for all of us. But it's a journey of transforming our communities that really represent the core of who we are. This is a part of restorative justice that National City has been yearning for the last 30 and then some years. So I am proud, I am rejoicing, I am emotional. That's because we have a government that represents the interests of our people. And I don't believe we had that in 1992, and today we have an opportunity to rewrite that historical wrong. I want to thank my friends, my colleagues, Councilmember Marcus Bush and Councilmember Jose Rodriguez. Thank you for you both. This has been a long journey, a journey that we have come together, arm in arm, but we also have other of your colleagues that are also doing right. And I'm very grateful for what you've been able to do for us. Mayor Morrison, Luz Molina, your support and listening to our efforts, and my good friend, Councilmember Dita Yamane. I'm so proud of you and thank you for your service to our district. And of course, I'm your constituent, so I'm a little biased. But again, thank you so very much. Que viva nuestra raza. Felicidades, mi gente.
That's me. Hello, I'm Deanna Garcia, member of Game Over Car Club, also secretary to the United Lowrider Coalition, and family member to all of these ones back here. I know anything, I didn't plan on speaking, but I know anything worth saying is worth saying from your heart. So I just wanted to say how grateful, thankful I am for every inch, every fight, and every ear that listened to us. Each and every one of you guys, and my brothers up here, love you guys. But I also put a slip in to speak because my niece here, she had something to say and needed me to be up here to hear her say what she had to say.
Hi, my name is Ellen Pasteles. I'm a member of Speedsiders.
You can pull the mic over a little closer to her there. There you go.
Okay, so my name is Ellen Pasteles. I'm a member from Speedsiders, and that's for my deal from LA. And I just wanted to say thank you for you guys saying thank you for having us and trying hard not to ban cruising and keep trying and trying for Thailand too, for we could cruise, and cruising is not a crime. I want to take the United Lowrider Coalition to my school and to tell people that cruising is not a crime and that clubs are not gangs or violence. So that's why, and then it's kind of hard because when we throw events, it's kind of hard to if we throw events because all those like watches and stuff, all those people try to ruin it because they just want to make us sad and they don't want to make us happy or anything. They just want to make us sad because we tried hard and we keep trying and they keep ruining it. And that's why I think.
And I just want to say, let's just get cruising on the road.
All right, thank you very much. Doing community events and doing all this stuff. And, you know, they spent a good amount of time, I mean, literally decades, in meeting every month and doing things within the community, doing projects, everything else, and really helped to turn around the whole image on the whole idea of the perception. Because we know it was bad perception. It wasn't reality, but it was perception. And then even after that, then we had, we were trying to move out of that into the car shows and cruising at that point, and then the lowrider community died with problems from within, kind of went away. And so next thing we tried with all the different car clubs to try to see who would, you know, want to help organize and do car shows and cruises, everything. And everyone wanted to participate. No one wanted to be in charge. No one wanted to put their name on the line. And we had two individuals who are not here tonight, but they've been part of the discussions here in this last couple of months. And that's Robert Casas and Rob Berg-Rice, that put together the car show and the cruises that we've had for the last several years. And did a beautiful job of showing what could be done. And then the Lowrider Coalition came up and started solidifying all that organization that we were trying to get people to do before. And it has made tonight possible. There's been a lot of work put in by a lot of people through time. And it's a culmination with what we have now and it's making this possible because the other thing is you take a look at the individuals that were
personal emotions at the moment. I feel inspired, proud to be a city council member in National City and have such active, engaged, badass community members. Thank you. It inspires me as an elected official, so thank you so much. This has been a decades-long struggle, and you all know better than I do how difficult this journey has been. You know, this has been a ordinance that has scapegoated a community for issues that were beyond many of our community's control. Issues that were international, war on drugs, the lack of investment in our community. And ordinances like this scapegoated groups of people in our neighborhoods. And it happened all across California, all across the United States. And so it's important to realize that and to, you know, to just take a tiny bit from the ordinance itself that we are repealing. The violation or penalty says, any person violating any provision of this chapter is guilty of a misdemeanor punishable by fine not exceeding $1,000 or by imprisonment not to exceed 6 months or by both such fine and imprisonment. In other words, it's letting people know which drive customized cars that are cruising down the street, which happen to be overwhelmingly people of color. You're not welcome here. And this was, I think, implicit in the belief that, you know, by elected leaders at the time, the community is misunderstood, was misunderstood, underrepresented, ignored over and over and over again. And so I'm so proud that this local fight was resurrected by the ULC. It took you all coming together, bringing all of the different lowrider groups together. And that in itself was inspiring considering the history that had been there. So you all doing the legwork and bringing people together was inspiring for me as an outsider to walk into. You all are activists, organizers, community leaders that really led this entire movement. to where we are now. And so we had attempts to repeal the ordinance over the last couple of years. We're here now, and it's important to realize that, you know, last year's election, this was a focal point in the election cycle. And so your actions, your work, your organizing, your activism changed local politics. And ultimately, that's what democracy is about. It is people coming together saying, this is the law that we like, or this is the law that should be repealed. And so I really want to commend every single one of you for inspiring us and pushing us to do the right thing. I do want to mention also, you know, something I noticed real quick when I started meeting with ELC leaders. It was very clear, women are in charge. I'm not just talking about my household.
Carry purses.
And every time you heard no, you said, what's next? We're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep pushing, because this is not going to stop. And as a husband, as a father of 4 beautiful daughters, I am so inspired by you all. Thank you for continuing to push and not giving up. You know, I also want to bring up the San Jose experience and what this feels to me at the moment. You know, we went up to San Jose when the ordinance was repealed, and I noticed a city that was different. It was a city that fully embraced who they were. They embraced their history. They embraced their heritage. We even went to San Jose State, right next door to City Hall, and they had an exhibition of the history of East San Jose. And guess what was there? Lowriders, right? So it is a city that decided collectively, we are going to embrace, we are going to love, and this is part of our history, this is part of our future. And so I think it's important to note that this is just the beginning. It's important to realize that nothing is permanent. Losses are not permanent, victories are not permanent. So what it tells me is that we gotta keep fighting. Because right now, cruising is not a crime. Cruising was never a crime.
Right.
And I'm glad we're moving on this boat going forward. And you know, it's something I heard repeatedly. It's time to cruise and keep it low and slow.
What Ree said, it's pronounced Kapwa, how it's pronounced, and that's just so powerful to me because it shows me what a multicultural coalition coming together, black and brown, and yes, white too, just for the, you know, if anyone's out there offended when we say black and brown, that is not to exclude white people, it's all inclusive, but no, the black and brown communities disproportionately have had issues, so that's why we're talking about it with that lens, and so just that moment, because we have to recognize the Filipino community too. We're one of the largest, we have in National City, one of the largest Filipino populations in National City, and whether it's Ree, whether it's Javier the X-Men, I want to give him a big shout out. Member of the United Lowrider Coalition, and he had a platform, and he used that, not because he was getting paid or anything like that, he did that because it was the right thing to do, is Filipinos, so we just got to recognize that's why we say black and brown. I support this full repeal. This is, I don't want to repeat everything everyone said, cruising is not a crime, this law is a relic, it needs to go. It's based on negative stereotypes, associating lowriders with gangs, with crime. And let's be honest, lowriders and cruising, it's an activity that is predominantly enjoyed by black and brown folks. And that's why we say that, we talk about this. Were there issues that happened back in the day, like the mayor said in the 80s and 90s? For sure, there are absolutely safety issues. It caused challenges for law enforcement, but let's address those challenges now. Like, let's turn to a new approach of community policing, of inclusivity, because banning it was not the solution. That caused a lot of harm in the community. The over-policing and stereotypes caused harm, caused trauma. I think let's address those. I really look forward to continuing to work with our police. And I see our assistant chief, Alex Hernandez, here. I want to give him a shout out because he has been cooperative. He knows, he grew up here in this community, and I'm sure he's gone cruising down the Highland Avenue too. He knows this, and I've known him. He was actually my school resource officer. So, and that's what we want in National City: law enforcement that comes from the community, that's getting to go at these cruises, whether it's events or just folks going to water police, getting to know the community, continuing to build those relationships and that love and trust with the community. So we want that. And just to be honest, this moment is it's personal to me as a black and brown person. And for those that don't know, I'm black and Mexican, Blaxican. That's what there's some Blaxicans in the audience. So I'm mixed up this. I'm proud of those. I see this as whether it's the music, the culture, the art, the colors, like everything about it is just so representative of my identity. And even though I'm not a lowrider myself, I don't have a lowrider vehicle, I grew up with it here in National City. So we grew up cruising down, even though it was technically banned, yes, we still went down cruising down Highland Avenue after the Charger games and just feeling that love, that community spirit and support. And we had a lot of that magic at last year's May 6th cruising event. So this is personal for me on that end. I do want to give some shout outs. I said earlier, Marisa Rosales, who sparked this movement, and Jovita Arellano, the president, her husband, Rabbit, Aida, Carlos.
Ordinance in National City.
I move that we repeal the no cruising ordinance in National City.
We have a motion by Bush, a second by Rodriguez. With that, I'm going to ask for a vote now.
Come on.
Push the button.
Who's been working like crazy on this thing the last few months, and who has something for someone. I'm going to ask Josie Boyce Clark, if you come forward. There's a former lowrider.
Councilmember, Vice Mayor, and City Council, thank you. My name is Josie Boyce Clark. I'm the President of the National Latina Businesswomen Association. I'm the Vice President of the San Diego County and Rio Valley Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and I am the Executive to Mayor Ron Morrison. And you're right, I am a former lowrider. I used to cruise in Stockton, California, down Charter Way, back in my days, way back in my days. And unfortunately, I did have to sell my '63 Chevy Impala when I got divorced, because I had to feed my kids. But I did get inspired and motivated tonight to get another one. At this moment, I truly want to thank you for calling our office, for working with us, for all those phone calls, for all those meetings, for believing in us, for trusting us. And it is because of you and all of you that tonight happened. It's historic tonight. It's something to celebrate. Thank you, and thank you all, because this is also deep in my heart. So, Kavita, excuse me, Mayor, you are a badass.
She's my wife.
Can I get your first and last name, please?
Carlos Ruiz, R-U-I-Z.
R-U-I-Z.
Ruiz. Yeah, all right.
All right, so tell me about tonight. How are you feeling?
I don't know, man. It's kind of like, it's like Christmas times 10, but it's historic, man. It's historic. I was here when the ban happened, man. I was a kid on the streets, man, and it's gone. You know, it's gone. It's like, it hasn't kicked in. But, you know, I mean, Yes, yes.
I can feel the energy.
Oh man, the energy's strong, man. Yeah. I'm chilling. You're from my neck of the hood, so we know. But oh man, it's.
So how much work and effort have you guys spent on?
I would say it consumes between the executive board, myself, Jovita, the other executive board member. It's like a full-time job, you know, not just with the local stuff, but with the state, you know, coordinating this, you know, setting up stuff with the state, with David Alvarez, it's been a full-time job. Luckily, I'm blessed. I'm retired. I'm a retired criminal investigator. I work at the museum, at the auto museum, so they support me 100%. So I can put in a lot of time in focusing on this, especially with Jovita and Marisa and Diana. And I don't know what we're doing myself. You know, I'm like, we still have the state. You know, we're still going through state. This is just national city. You know, so we never thought it would be to that point where we're telling the state, hey, you know, get rid of all the cruising bans in the state of California. But that's what's happening. You know, and that's next. You know, this agenda item, like I said earlier, this agenda item is done. You know, the next one's the state, and then federal. You know.
Some challenges ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, bro.
All right, brother.
All right, man.
I appreciate it, man. What's your name again?
Your first and last name, please.
Marisa Rosales,
How do you spell your first and last name?
MARISAROSALES.
Well, tell me, how did you help with this whole cause here?
Well, actually, I started this cause. I started having pop-up cruises during COVID in 2019 because the isolation had me in a bad mental state. So I started throwing pop-up cruises on National City Boulevard. And during one of those cruises, the police were riding their motorcycles on the sidewalk where there was children on their pedal cars, lowrider bikes. So I put a formal complaint into the police officers committee. So then they called me into the police station to talk about my complaint. But when I went in, we talked about my complaint probably for about 5 minutes. And then the rest of the time, they figured out I was the one throwing the cruises. So the rest of the time we were talking about the pop-up cruises. I couldn't have them. There was ways to do things, that I had to do things the right way. So then, to me, in my mind, I was like, well, to do things the right way, we need to repeal this ban. So Councilmember Marcus Bush got a hold of me and said, I heard you were having some problems on National City Boulevard. Oh, then he goes, you know what, I recommend you call this young lady, Aida Castañeda and Jovita Arellano. So then we got together, I called those two ladies, we met, and then they called other people, and then that's how the coalition got started, and that's how the movement got started. Jovita had a lot of connections with media, so we started talking to the media, and then the media helped us spread the word, and they got heard in the other cities that were having the same issues, and then they started doing activism in their own communities to repeal their ordinances, and then it got to Sacramento, the movement that was happening in all these cities, and then David Alvarez and another council member, I forget her name, but she's the one that authored ACR 176 that recommended that the cities work with their communities to repeal these ordinances. And now the bill AB 435 is in at the state assembly being voted on. So it's amazing. It's been an amazing journey. Yes, it's been a little bit over 2 years. 2 years.
I mean, I felt it. Can you tell me how it felt tonight?
At the beginning of the night, when we were outside, I was in awe still. Like, I was in awe, like, I can't believe we're here, you know?
And then here now it's like that it went. And I said, they go, Marisa, what do you think is gonna happen? I think we're gonna get a unanimous vote. Yes. And then like, okay, we'll see. But you just never know. So I was still like, when I see it, I'll believe it. And then right now, my heart's racing. I'm teary-eyed. It's just amazing. It's just amazing how it started from my pop-up cruises because I was feeling the depression from isolation during COVID to this. Yes.
So this is a great win. I mean, you still have a long journey ahead.
Yes, we do. We do. And now that the coalition is going nonprofit, you know, we want to push forward and keep the culture alive. So now we're going to be going and advocating through our youth, you know, and passing the culture to them because they're the future. They're the future, you know. And we also want to, you know, have a building. We have a goal of, I want to see a museum, a lowrider museum, you know, to put all this in and put cars in and, you know, yes. Yes.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here.
Can I get your last name, please?
Jose Rodriguez.
Hey, Jose Rodriguez, what are you doing for National City, sir?
I'm a council member for the city of National City.
And you were very beneficial to what happened today. So can you tell me, you know, in a nutshell, why we're here today?
Today we voted to repeal the no cruising ordinance in National City. So we voted 5-0, repeal the ordinance in National City, a ordinance that disproportionately affects people of color, an ordinance that for decades people have been trying to overturn, an ordinance that played a key role in last year's election cycle. People kept fighting to repeal this ordinance, and we finally did it. That's why we're here.
That's awesome. So, you know, I'm from San Diego. I cruise highly. I've been here for all the Charger games over here. This is definitely something that, can you explain to me, you know, the reaction and like how it felt? Because I know how it felt. You know, when we saw the approval and all the effort that went into it, how do you feel?
It's inspiring, man. It's inspiring. I'll tell you why. This ordinance essentially told people, mainly brown and black people, you are not welcome here. Because you have a customized car, you're not allowed to drive down the street. Even though it's a public street, and even though they paid their taxes to make sure their vehicle was able to drive. That law is repealed. We are now telling our people in the city, you are welcome here. This is our city, and you're welcome here like everybody else is. The government needs to work on behalf of everybody, and I'm glad that we finally have a council that is able to vote on this item, convey that message to our people that everybody is welcome here. You are part of our government. We're going to listen to you today and in the future. So that's what it means. It means repealing the no cruising, but more importantly, it means telling our people, mainly brown and black folks that cruise down the streets, you are welcome here. Our government works for you. That is what it means. And we need to do more of that because historically, our community has been left behind, not invested in, and asked to not be here. And so times are changing in National City.
And where do we go from here?
It's a good question. I mean, I think the basic answer is let's cruise, bro.
It's true. So
Low and slow, let's cruise, let's have a good time, let's enjoy the artwork that are these vehicles and the opportunity for coming together and just having a good time.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
All right, brother. Thanks, man.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, can I get your first and last name, please?
Ron Morrison, Mayor of the City of National City.
And sir, tell me about tonight. You know, where we're at and how everyone felt.
Well, it's the fruition of a lot of years of work, literally decades of work to make all this happen. There's been a lot of groups that have tried working on this through the years, and it finally took the culmination of a whole lot of different things to finally bring this thing together where it made a lot of sense. Got to give a lot of shout outs to United Lowrider Coalition. Came together in a very business-like sense and said, hey, we want to do this, we want to do it the right way. That was, you would not believe what a huge help that was to take it over the hurdles.
So was you know, everyone that was involved in the coalition, was that like an aha moment, like, okay, you know what, this is what the city needs, this is where we should go from here, you know, the people, this is what the people want, right?
Right, yeah, most do, and so it's been, they don't want the chaos that we had in the 80s and 90s. Nobody wants that. They want something that does have some structure. That's the great thing about United Lowrider Coalition, is giving some structure. Before it was jungle rules. And so that's the thing people don't want. But they do want to be able to enjoy the cars, enjoy the culture, and so it's been great to have that kind of opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir.
Absolutely.